Hey, it's Joshua Vergara from Android Authority. What's going on, everybody? And I'm here to bring you something on Android Authority that, well, we wanted to make sure we gave you a drop test because it's that time of year. We're here in Australia, not Hong Kong like we did in the past, to drop the iPhone and iPhone 7 Plus. iPhone 7 and iPhone 7 Plus, but we did that over on Tab Time, so make sure you head on over to see how that drop test went. But we wanted to make sure we had something for you guys, so I'm actually going to be dropping a Samsung Galaxy Note 7. Now I know there are a lot of jokes about this phone, and maybe I'm a little bit afraid that it'll blow up if I drop it, but the overwhelming odds are that's not going to happen. So we're gonna go ahead and drop this so that we have a drop test for you guys. So why don't we go ahead and get started? So you already know how it goes. We have the standard drop test, and then maybe depending on what the results are, we might do a second tier using one of our taller colleagues, Chris Carlin. But as you know already, we're going to drop it onto its back, onto its side, usually the bottom portion right here where the S Pen is, and of course onto its face, which is usually where we find some real damage. All the cameras are already rolling, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with the first test, dropping it right onto its back. All right, camera is rolling on the phone, working perfectly fine, as we drop it onto its back in 3, 2, and 1. Got a nice bounce off of that too. Well, it fell pretty squarely onto its back, and then it bounced up, did a nice little flip, and fell right on its back again. So the camera still works fine. Obviously, we don't have any problems with the screen, but let's take a look at the backing. Now we have dual glass backings, or dual glass rather, on the front and back, meaning that we could get cracks across the board, but so far it's looking pretty good. So we have the black version of the Galaxy Note 7 in the hand right now, so it might be a little bit tough to see if there are any blemishes or scuffs, but so far that's simply not the case. So you don't really have to worry too much so far with the Galaxy Note 7 in our first drop for this test. All right, well, the camera is still working, so everything is still operational. I'll leave the camera recording throughout this one right now as we drop it onto its bottom. So why don't we go ahead and do that right now? 3, 2, 1, bye-bye. All right, hopefully the cameras were able to catch that, and the camera of the Note 7 is still recording, which is great. So, screen is perfectly fine, obviously. So, we have the screen there, and as I look around the phone, one really good scuff on the bottom, which is exactly where it fell. So, and there you go, with this darker metal frame, it is a little bit tougher to see all of the elements, and in this case, the one scuff that is right on the corner here. It does make it so that you can feel it's no longer very smooth, but that's about it. Everything else is operational so far on the Note 7, with the camera still recording me, even after 2 drops. All right, well, so far so good. We got 2 drops out of the 3 in our traditional drop test. The camera's still going, so nice little selfie video right here, but I'm gonna stop it and go to the other camera because we're doing the face drop. So let's do this right now. We're gonna go ahead and drop it onto its face, so you can see me in the camera right now. All right, moment of truth. Let's see what happens with the screen of the Note 7 when I drop it in 3, 2, and 1. It was nice of it to bounce right back up so that I could see if anything happened. And so far, it looks like we're all good. There's the camera, and there's Narav again. And there's me. Everything seems to be fine. We do have a couple of scuffs on the top that I'll show you in a second, but the screen looks perfectly fine. We definitely have a blemish at the top of the screen. That's probably where it landed. It wasn't the flattest drop that I kind of wanted, but even then it was a good impact, and it caused that little blemish up top. The phone survived the traditional drop test, so we have to go a little bit untraditional. Just like with the LG V20, and if you go over to Tab Times, you can see the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus being dropped from an even higher height, thanks to this guy, because he's a lot taller than me, and he can reach a lot higher than me. Drop test onto its back. First one of these 3 in 3, 2, and 1. Ooh.
I went on the front again.
Oh, I went on the front again.
Terrible drop test.
But we already have some results. Hey guys. You can't see it, but there are cracks down here. The screen is damaged. All right, well, after the original test, we didn't have any problems, but now we have some really big ones. We have a few spider webs down here because I think that's where it landed instead of its back. And then we have a large crack across the bottom of the device. So let's take a look at it a little bit closer up in this angle up here. As we always say in these drop tests, drops are random. Even though we wanted to make it land flat on its back, that sometimes won't happen. And if you ever drop your phone, of course you won't be able to control how it drops. So we were able to basically see that here. And thanks to that, the bottom portion of the screen is cracked with a bunch of spider webs, some very large cracks that are permeating throughout the bottom half of the screen. And actually I can feel a bit of a prick from how I'm holding it. Definitely got to be careful with this phone now. All right, moving right on to the bottom test. We're gonna drop it right onto its bottom in 3, 2, and 1. It was a little better.
S Pen ejected?
Yes, S Pen came out just a little bit, but let's see if there's any more damage to the screen because, I mean, they're already cracks. It could just get worse. And it did not get worse, thankfully, but the S Pen did pop out just a little bit, but that's an easy fix. Just get it right back into place. Let's take a look at some of the other damage that might have happened. But we do get one new scuff on the bottom corner, which is probably why the S Pen popped out like that, but that's an easy fix. And after that, we still have all of the cracks. Camera's still running, so we still have the front-facing camera recording me even talking about this, and there are all the same scratches that we had from the previous test. So far, it's the cracked screen that we're mostly really bummed out about. The screen's already broken. Are we just gonna drop it right on its face again, or are we gonna do something else? Well, the funny thing is, I wonder if we should just do a regular front-facing test. That way it will land on its back, because clearly...
Exactly.
So we're gonna try dropping it on its back, see if we can get a nice flat drop on the back, because it is a glass backing, which could break. I mean, after all, the screen's broken already, so why don't we go ahead and do that? All right, we have the final test, doing a back test again because the screen is already broken. In 3, 2, and 1.
That was on the back.
That was much better.
I did good.
That was much, much better, but the back, it's totally fine. The back is totally fine. It did land on its face again, but just taking a look at the back, yeah, it looks fine. There's a tiny little crack on the bottom here that I'll show you in a close-up, but yeah, it's still, oh, well, the camera stopped recording. I can tell you that, but let's hit record there. Front is still broken. Bottom half of the screen is still cracked up to hell. And unfortunately, that means that this phone is still operational, but probably not one you want to use. There is a very tiny crack on the bottom part of the backing, probably where it kind of landed, but for the most part, the backing is fine. Again, it's all about that screen. There's a lot of glass on this phone, and we kind of expected that to happen anyway, but it's a little bit unfortunate still. The thing is, the device is still fully functional. It's just that you probably don't want to be using this phone when you have a cracked screen like that. The S Pen is still okay, and the camera was running for most of the tests, so all of that was okay, but still, you're going to want to get this glass at least replaced, or in our case, maybe this phone is going to get recalled anyway, so we'll get a replacement at some point. So thankfully for that, we were able to use this for our drop test with the Galaxy Note 7. Keep it tuned to Android Authority for all of the best coverage, and then remember to head on over to Tab Times and their YouTube channel to see the iPhone 7, the iPhone 7 Plus, those drop tests, and of course all the coverage revolving around the iPhone 7 line. And then you can stick around here because of course we are your source for all things Android.